Well, hello. Welcome to the Cat and Bradley YouTube channel. This is my first video on this channel, so forgive me for any bad editing or misinformation. I don't know, but forgive me for being choppy as well, not splicing things together perfectly. I'm going to try to do most of it with a voiceover, just so it runs smoothly and I can kind of change what I'm going to say depending upon the clips I've got. But yeah, as I'm sure you've noticed by the thumbnail of this video, I have a project on my hands. I have just bought a 9-meter rib. Now, I'm not really a rib guy for a few reasons, but let's not get into that. However, when I saw this rib for sale, I was actually looking for a friend because he wanted to buy a rib, and I said, "Oh, that looks like a good deal," and looked into it more, and then I realised why. And I thought, oh, that could be something I could do. So I bought it, and here we are. So she's a 9-meter rib tech, built in 2011 for a super yacht in the Mediterranean. Actually, got some lifting straps on her to be lifted onto a super yacht. So never really been trailered, kept out of the water her whole life. Interesting though thing about her is she's got a surface drive system on it. And if you know anything about surface drives, they're typically built for race boats. Boats that go incredibly fast, that are, supposed to get the highest top speed they possibly can. And surface drives, they're not very common. They're very expensive. The propellers are very expensive. And the propeller for this one was damaged. And when I bought it, I thought, okay, that'll cost quite a bit to repair. Ended up costing a bit more than I may have anticipated. But I have a solution. Now, let's get on to what I'm thinking. So currently, this boat has a diesel in it. Now this, as you can see, is a Volvo Penta Tammed 63 high performance. It's a 5.5 litre straight six turbo diesel. Puts out about 370 horsepower to the crank, and it weighs quite a bit, and it also doesn't have the best RPM. It has lots of torque, as diesels do, but the RPM is lacking. So currently, this boat has a 1-speed gearbox in it, which is like most boats, or technically 2 speeds, forward and reverse, controlled by this. And this is the gearbox connected to it. And if you look closely, you can see it's ratio 1.484 to 1. Now that means that this engine will spin 1.484 times for this shaft that's connected to the propeller to spin once. Now, doing some calculations with a 24.5 pitch prop, which my surface drive prop is, I would achieve around 30 knots. Now that's on a good day, and on a good day 30 knots isn't going to cut it for this boat. So what I'm going to do is change everything. Now this is the system at the minute, so you can see it comes out right at the bottom of the transom like I explained. The propeller will go on there. This is the rudder, which I didn't draw in the system, but just to make everything a bit more clear, these are the massive trim tabs to try and get the propeller out of the water as much as possible. And basically, I want to put a leg on here. Now, I'll compare a leg with an image like that. You can see the difference. And this would eliminate all this complicated work and simplify everything up. Yes, it's going to be a lot of work. As you can see, we've got these massive supporting beams here to hold the rudder system up. We've got this whole fabricated custom surface drive thing. We've got these stupid aeration tubes which never worked. Not me, by the way. But I want to fit a leg to this thing. I might have to do some fiberglass reinforcements. However, when I've been looking about for availability for legs, I'd love to put a Volvo Penta leg on it. A DPS drive or a DPA drive, or whatever they are, the dual prop ones. However, they only offer ratios 1.5 to 1. And as I've just explained, the higher the number and the ratio number, the actual slower this prop shaft will spin. Now, I've been looking around also though at the Mercury, the Bravo drives, the Mercury Bravo drives. More specifically, the Bravo 1 drive. Why the Bravo 1? Because it offers a 1.36 to 1 ratio drive. Now, if I can put a 1.36 to 1 ratio drive on this boat, I can achieve a bit faster speeds. Not a lot faster, but just that bit faster. Issue is money and availability. If any of you guys have any Bravo 1 drives lying about, or anything, or any help or any advice you want for this boat, please just chuck it in the comments. I'll respond. But yeah, I am on my look. I am keeping my eyes out, my eyes out, for a leg. But yeah, if any of you guys have a leg, that'd be brilliant. So let's get into the trailer, because that is an issue. Anyway, the big problem at the moment is the trailer on the boat, and I can't really do anything until the boat is securely on the trailer. The boat, when I bought it, didn't come listed with the trailer, so
6.5 hours later.
Without further ado, I guess, I don't know about all that waffle, but let's get into the video. First issue to encounter is the wheel hubs. So when I took these wheel hubs off the boat, off the trailer that is, as you can see, I've taken the actual studs out of them. Now the reason being is because the actual studs, they were broken. Now this was due to many factors, them being over torqued and not being the right nuts on them, and they've also mangled the wheels a bit. I've countered this by buying, brand new studs, as you can see here, and I've also bought some new nuts to go on them as well, some proper wheel hub nuts. Now not only that, but I think another reason why the wheel hub snapped is because of the weight of the boat on the actual trailer, transferring all into the studs, going through everything into the studs. So what I have done, as you see, is I've actually started machining up a aluminium spacer, you could call it. Now this is going to be machined right down to the surface area of the wheel. So what I've done is stuck it in the lathe here. I've measured up the wheel, pulled out the inner diameter like this. I would keep measuring it up, and I whack it onto one of the hubs with a hammer and press fit it properly, and then I'll see if it will fit on the wheel, and that basically will transfer all the weight through the wheel onto the hub, not from the wheel through the studs to the hub, if that makes sense. So it will make it a lot stronger than it already was. Not only that, but I've ordered bigger studs, and they've come. Issue with ordering studs was they were a bit too long. I also managed to lose one at one point, but basically, so I made this jig that the nuts would fit in really nicely, and they go in this saw, and after lots of sawing and grinding, hello, new day. Sorry about that waffle. I'm going to try not to in this clip, but sometimes I do go off on a tangent. I did realise though, as I was editing this new clip, that I haven't actually got a video of me pushing the wheel studs in, which I would have shown. However, I did miss out a key part in this voiceover, and that's the wheel bearings. These are the new ones you can see here. I don't think I have any clips of the old ones, unfortunately, but I'll try and put some in if I can find any. However, they were a bit, looked like used wheel bearings basically, and I had a bad experience on my last boat where the wheel flew off at 50 miles an hour or 40 or 50 or whatever, smashed into. Basically, I had these wheel bearings, got some new ones in, so you measure up the inner diameter, and you measure up the width of the axle. I also had to get these oil bearings in, as you can see. These oil bearings are what create, so the oil seals sit on there, and then the bearing will sit on here. This is just clear space, and then the front bearing will sit on this face, and then you'll have obviously the nut that will go on here and lock in. And these custom wheel caps that I made here, I 3D printed them, designed them up on the CAD, and they protect anything getting in from the outside of the wheel in, so like seawater basically. They are mainly for dust seals, however, they've got to keep water out, because these trailers go in the water fully, and get fully submerged, so they've got to be, tip-top condition. I actually ended up putting silicone on them just to make sure they stay on there really well, so nothing gets in there, nothing degrades them, and then on top of that, I'll change the bearings every single year. I'd recommend you guys doing that as well. It's not an expensive job. It's not a hard job. You do have to get a bit greasy. So here you have to actually pack the bearings with grease. So you got to stick, buy some grease, stick your hands in, get a bit greasy, and coat them all in grease. But once they're done, slap them on there. Make sure you get the inner one, the big one, usually, well, will always be, the big one that goes on the inside first, and then put the oil seal in on top, because you can't do that otherwise. However, before I got to that stage, I did have to get back to the wheel studs and the rotors on the front hubs. So let's dive right back into that video. Sorry about the little detour, but let's go back to me wearing a blue shirt instead of this one. The front hubs, they had discs on them. So I actually had to take them to M&D Tooling, lovely engineering CNC shop near us, and they managed to trim them down because they got a lathe big enough. Very nice of them to do that. So once they were back, I had the custom bits, the custom aluminium spacers already ready. I actually made one just a bit too big, so I drilled, tapped and countersunk one of them and put 4 bolts or screws in each side, so they'd stay flush with the wheel and they'd also clamp on. It was pretty strong, it probably would have never come off, but better safe than sorry. Once they were done, it was then addressing the trailer, so I had to clean up the axles because they were old and greasy like this, and yeah, so I cleaned them up, got the hubs on, tightened it up, put the locking tabs on for the crown nut, and there we go, put the hubcap on. Next issue, the trailer, the actual bunks for it. Funnily enough, the clamps for them that sit like this, right, that are just 90-degree clamps from the trailer up to the bunks that sit like this. There was one this side and one that side like that. So the bunks sat at the outside of the clamps. And when the V of the boat sat in them, it was forcing both the bunks away from each other. That's fine, but the clamps were on the inside. Not only were the clamps on the inside, but they were held on by 2 wood screws on each clamp. So 2 clamps per bunk, and then 2 wood screws. So you got 4 wood screws holding the bunks from doing that from a 3-ton boat. I mean, I don't know what anyone expected, but they did actually end up collapsing. Thank God it didn't damage the boat. It actually landed quite nicely on one of the bunks that had fallen over onto the side. But I had to straighten the boat up, and that was such a pain getting that trailer out of there. And I don't have enough footage of it because I was just in such a, it was quite a state. But, luckily nothing major was damaged, just those clamps, basically. Well, the clamps weren't damaged, it was those wood screws, they just pulled out, basically. So I straightened everything up, measured, and I actually had to measure the chines and get all the angles right, and did some maths to get the bunks in exactly the right place, both the front and the back, getting all the all the angles obviously. And once they were in, I actually drilled through the whole thing, and the clamps, the whole bunks, and I've made, as you can see here, some M10 studs which have got nuts on the end, and they were eventually held in by both ends by nuts. So instead of 2 wood screws, you've got 2 massive M10 studs going through and holding those clamps, and also I've put the clamps on the outside so it won't fall over this time, which is brilliant. So after that, both the wheels were on, got the wheels pumped up, and I just had to clean the other axles, the rear axles. I didn't put the rear wheels on just because I wanted the trailer to be a bit more manoeuvrable and not skipping about so much. And also, there she goes, for the trailer to be able to go under the boat, I wanted to lower the tyre pressures just to get the trailer a bit lower so I could squeeze it under there. And it was quite a mission actually, getting that trailer underneath the boat. Yeah, that took quite a while, but I tell you what, we'll actually cut to that now and we can all see what's going on. So yeah. Right, we make progress. Trailer's kind of getting there. I think I'm just going to obviously show it back. Obviously it's not straight right now, but when we go back a bit, then I'll turn it once it's in the middle. Bear in mind the pivot point will be about this axle. Well, it will be that axle because I've only put these 2 wheels on. I'll need to drop the pressures when I push this back, and I'll probably use the car, so I'll get it as close as it can go, get the beam across on the front, which which I'm not sure I've shown you guys yet, but yeah, so we're going to be using that, and we're going to get some strengthening steel to go across it, spread the weight on that long beam. So I'll put those two small ones up here on the side, and the long one will go across, maybe some wood to kind of even the weight out on the joining parts. But yeah, and then that should be enough room to clear this trailer when that goes under it. Obviously those blocks will need to come out. Yeah, and use that jack there to jack up the whole boat. Keep these pushed in at the bottom here, so jack it up, push both of the poles in, push both of these in, jack it up a bit more, get that under, and then push the trailer under. Right, me and Dad have got the trailer in this far. We haven't yet lowered it onto this, but these are level completely both ways, straight up. This is pretty level, and it's square or perpendicular with the boat. So yeah, we just put the trailer in case this breaks. Hopefully it shouldn't, and then the boat will only fall onto the trailer. Also, these supports should hold it up as well. But yeah, let's get the boat in. Right, so we were able to push the trailer back a bit more, getting some blocks out, and so we've managed to move these in a foot, so stopping this bending as much. Oh well, all good things come to an end, eh? That I am not trusting. I was lowering it down, and Dad just said, stop, go up, because that is just, I'm not trusting that, because now we're only relying on the bottom two, and the whole structure of this is the fact that there's three. So these will expand when you put this pressure on, and then this will be pushed in together. And if this is just collapsing already, then there's no structural integrity. So boat's chocked off again, but we're just going to, hopefully we have another beam, but we're not sure. Right, it's getting a bit dark now, and I can't see super well, especially like super far under there. I don't really want to bring a torch out, but obviously I've got my phone light on. But yeah, we're getting there. Trailer can't go much further more with this, and also we're very close at the back with this chock. I'm just being super careful because this thing weighs over 3 tons, I reckon. I don't know, but this thing weighs over 3 tons, and a car's what, 1.5, maybe 2. So it's a bit easier. And also, so yeah, so I've got these chocks. So these chines, this one is going to sit on it nicely, just there. So there won't be much outward pressure on these. And the other side is also getting there. You look back here, we're almost there. The trailer keeps has a tendency to want to walk that way. I'm not sure it's because the tyres are flat, because the tyres got to be flat for the trailer to be low enough. But yeah, so what I might do is I've been using the ratchet strap to kind of pull the trailer over, just to force sliding it across the ground. So I might have to do that once more, just because you can see it lines up separately on the other side. But yeah, and then we'll get the trailer under. Right, here we are. Got my friend Jamie here helping me out. So we've moved this back a bit because it was originally here, and then the weight distribution on the boat was wrong. It was way too far back, and I moved it all the way up because I thought it would be, but it's not. So I've got about halfway. Getting there, very much so. We've moved the, I don't know what would you call that? The long, I don't even know. It's probably not got a name. Yeah, we've got a bit of clearance on here. First step, we're looking good. Second step, we're looking good. Third step, looking good. We've got about 1/2 inch to 1 inch each one. The other side is a bit further, but yeah, it should be good. Almost there. I've braced the back of the boat. Yeah, go to the back.
I'll tell you if there's any.
Braced the back of the boat. Dad's going to go back now. So the boat can't go backwards, but we're going to push the trailer under. I guess, yeah, go. Right, stop. Okay, about another 6 inches, mate. Actually, no, that's right. Hold on, don't move. We might have done it.
That has worked perfectly. This contraption.
Yeah, so we put this in, bracing against the boat, and there's a log on that one, bracing against the back of the boat. So let's just check it hasn't hit the. No, it hasn't hit that. Oh, look at that! Look at under the steps. It's exactly on a step. Ta-da! Right, after a bit of finagling, we have it going, and the front is a bit light, as you can see. That's the whole boat moving. But that's fine because there's no back wheels. I mean, typically the front should be very light, or reasonably light on a trailer. Not that light though. That would be sketchy, that you'd start fishtailing or whatever you call it. But obviously because there's no back wheels, the pivot point's there, instead of the rear support being there. But yeah, completely off these blocks now, so you can see they haven't come off in so long. I mean, that is literally jammed in there. Oh, look at the imprint off the anti-foul. Yeah, look at that. Oh my gosh, that is like incredible news. It's been so long. Finally, we can start working on the boat. It's Jamie's new deflating contraption. Weighted. Almost done. So I just jacked up this side of the trailer and we're just going to slap that wheel on. So we put in the air pressure on these down because we don't have a car to tow the front wheels up onto a thing because my dad left. So we're just going to chuck these wheels on. And yeah, whilst they're deflated, and then pump them up. Go get the nuts on, and yeah. So it's just that on that. Other way, this nut goes that way around. There we go. Good as new. Well, it is new. Right, well, how about that? Boats on the trailer. Pretty successful, I'd say. Now, one thing I've done slightly off camera, got the back wheels on. This one is filthy, needs a clean. As you can see, got the hubcaps on those as well. Everything looks all nice and dandy. Just got to take this off next. That will be the next big thing we do. Got both back wheels on. But there you go. You know, ribs all back on trailer, looking solid. Nicely on the chines there. And there we go. See you in the next video, I guess.